Hello, my friends. It is Hillary again from Good Wellesley Dogs Dog Training. And today I want to talk with you guys a little bit about why you really can't afford the luxury, if that's what you think it is, of opting out of disciplining your young dog or puppy. Now, I know people think the word discipline means being mean and being harsh and setting limits and hitting your dog and using equipment that hurts them, but that's not what discipline means. Discipline means leadership and teaching your dog to follow your lead. It means teaching your dog that there are limits and that they need to exercise self-control and reasonable behavior while they are growing and developing into that full-size dog that your puppy or younger dog is not yet. Now, why do you need to discipline your dog? Can't you just wait until they're all grown and then just tell it right from wrong, yes and no? You can't do that. Because, as I have said on many a video before, you are teaching your dog all about what you will and what you will not accept since the moment you brought that puppy home. And of course, we don't need to go through again all about how everybody falls in love with their puppy and spoils it for, the first few days. Okay, totally human, totally expected. Don't worry about that. But as your puppy moves on through the next week and 2 weeks that turn into a month, that turn into 2 months, that turn into 3 months, you will find yourself with a puppy that you still think of in your head as a puppy, but is rapidly becoming an adolescent dog. And adolescent dogs start vying for pecking order in the pack. And what's your dog's pack? Chances are pretty good you only have one dog, which means the dog sees your family as their pack. So, what happens if you opt out of disciplining your dog when they are young or when that rescue dog first comes into your home? Once they are established and once they are comfortable with where they're living, they're gonna start vying for position. Maybe it comes out in what you consider to be puppy nipping, but that goes on way longer than it should and isn't just teething that should, at this point, months later, even just a few weeks later, be confined to appropriate objects. If that puppy or young dog is still teething on people, you've failed to set a disciplinary standard there. Perhaps your young dog, approaching adolescent dog, and we're talking, between 5 months and 7 months of age, is getting a little bit bigger, and they are jumping up on people, and they are jumping up on everybody that comes in the house, and they are jumping up on you, and you really don't know how to get them to stop jumping because it seems to be bothering all the people that are coming into your house. It is, especially if they are going to be a good-sized dog. But even if they're not, I can assure you, your guests do not want even your little dog jumping up on them because it's unpredictable, and they don't want to get little puppy nips and snaps either. Maybe your dog has just gotten big enough that they can get their head or their paws up at the kitchen table, or when they get a little bigger, up to the counter, and they're counter surfing or stealing food. You have got to put an end to that. You have got to not accept it for a period of time, because what you don't correct, what you don't discipline, you are saying, okay, that's all right, that can go on in our house, and you are sending the puppy and young dog messages that they can do antisocial behavior in your house and or to guests and family members that you are not going to want going on for your dog's adult life. This is the time. This is the time to nip excessive barking in the bud. Dogs are going to bark. Dogs are going to bark when someone comes to the door. But we need to teach our dog, enough, thank you, and it's over. We need to discipline our dogs so that we can expect them to exercise self-control as an adolescent dog, as a young adult dog, and throughout their life as an adult dog. We are not going to accept constant hyperactivity, running around the house, stealing laundry, stealing socks, stealing kids' toys. All of that hyper come catch me, playing games that puppies play might look cute when that puppy is little, but it sure isn't going to look cute when your kids don't like your dog anymore because it keeps ruining all their toys, and it's not going to look cute to you when your puppy has ingested a sock or other household items that your vet then has to extract from them, either by pumping their stomach or worse, putting them under and doing surgery, which is dangerous and is going to cost you thousands of dollars. So what is fair discipline? What can you do? There are lots of things you can do, but the number one thing you need to start doing is have a leash on your untrained young dog or new rescue dog whenever they are out of the crate and you have them out loose in the house with you. You need that leash on your dog so that you can step on it, mark the behavior you don't like, no, and then correct it. How do you correct it? You can correct it with a leash pop if you've got a slip lead on your dog or a training collar. You can correct it after you say no to mark it with a noise interrupter if that upsets your dog. We need to make the dog just a little bit uncomfortable so that it doesn't want that to keep happening. A noise corrector can be an compressed air spray. They call them pet condensers or pet correctors. Or it can be, you can make yourself a penny can for almost nothing. You take an old soda or seltzer can and you put a bunch of pennies in it, and then you cover the top in duct tape, and then you say no and shake that can really close to the dog, and it will. Some dogs are sensitive enough that it will startle them and they won't want to do that behavior anymore. That's a pretty good one for jumping up if you have the right kind of dog. If your dog doesn't care, then you have to escalate the correction to something more firm. Like you could use a cotton towel bunk. You roll up a cotton hand towel, you say no, and it's a very soft cotton towel. As a matter of fact, hold on, I've got one right here. This is a bonker towel. You roll up, nice soft cotton towel, see? No big deal, whacking myself with it. Doesn't hurt me, isn't abusive, but this is the modern day kind version of Dad's back in the 1950s rolled up newspaper that they would whack the puppy with because the puppy was being a brat. And guess what? Then the puppy stopped that behavior. But today we can use a nice soft cotton towel rolled up with some rubber bands, and if that puppy or that adolescent dog jumps up on you, you've got the puppy with the leash, you say no, and you give it a whack with the cotton towel. Believe me, it's not going to like it. You can also use this as a projectile and toss it at the dog. If the dog is barking excessively and you say no, and then you toss it over there. It's another great use for the cotton towel. There are lots and lots of ways that you can get your point across to your dog. And some dogs are very sensitive and they don't need firm corrections. And some dogs really are not very sensitive and they do need firm corrections. But it's up to you to give your dog both the rewards for good behavior and the corrections for unacceptable behavior so they know how to get along in your household, in your family, and in the world with other people and dogs. It is your responsibility to say no to and correct your dog for unpleasant behavior. I promise you, it is not going to get any better. The dog is not going to outgrow it as it gets bigger. The nipping will turn into biting. The stealing of toys will turn into resource guarding, which then leads to aggression. The jumping up As the puppy gets bigger, that puppy doesn't know that it's gotten bigger. It still feels like it's in the same body as the body that everybody laughed at when the puppy was little. But when the dog jumps up on grandma and knocks her over, and then she has, to go to rehab because of a hip injury or a back injury, that's a really serious thing. You've got to stop unwanted behavior by using fair and clear consequences and dog training tools if you need them, if necessary, before the dog becomes an adult, and really before the dog gets to adolescence. And adolescence is really quick. You think of your under 1-year-old puppy as still a baby. It is not. When your 8-week-old puppy comes to you, you could treat it as a baby if you want for about a week, 1 week. But then it's moving rapidly over the course of the next few weeks through toddlerhood, through the preschool years. By the time your dog is only 14 weeks old, that is equivalent to pretty much a grade school child. By the time your dog is 16 to 17 weeks old, they are heading through middle school and they are heading to high school. And by the time your dog is a half a year old, you have got the development and mentality of a recalcitrant teenager on your hands. And you had better effectively be able to say no to that teenage dog. So that's why you cannot opt out of disciplining your dog. It's not mean, it's not abusive, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but the sooner you set limits and rules for your dog, the sooner you teach it to stop pulling you all around the neighborhood or jumping up or lunging at other people at the other end of the leash, the sooner you address these behaviors that you don't like, the sooner you are going to start molding your dog into the wonderful family companion pet that you had dreamed of when you decided to get a dog. So stop thinking of discipline as a mean word. It's not mean. It's the kindest thing you can do for your pet because it's going to help your pet live a much happier life. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.